Hey, welcome to MiWeek After the Show. Nolan is practicing saying, "Hello, President Snyder." President Snyder, how are you today?
Mr. President.
Mr. President.
I'm not too worried about having to learn that.
So what's going on? This has continued to be very intriguing. He was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner on Saturday night. He was in California
Vegas.
on Monday. So how much money do you think he's raised so far? Who's buying into a presidential candidate, Rick Snyder?
I don't know if he's raised any yet. I don't think he's formed an exploratory committee. So I think what he's doing is lining up commitments for money, trying to gauge whether somebody would actually write a check. I don't know what he's thinking. Man, there's 21, 22 people in the field. 18 of them are probably far better known than he is and have been at this race a lot longer. I don't know where he fits into the
well, I mean, so number one, he's a governor, which separates him from a lot of.
There are 8 governors in the race.
There are 8 governors, but that's not 21, right? So right there,
so that
he's
already
got
lifts him up a little bit.
It's a buffet table.
Yeah.
It's a buffet table, and he's another noodle dish.
Yeah. So he is a governor. He's a 2-time blue state winner, which most of the other governors in the race cannot say. You know,
who can? Walker can. Jindal
Walker can. Jindal's not in a blue state.
Okay. Kasich is. Walker is.
Kasich's not in a blue state.
Ohio?
No, it's a split state.
Well, not the last
Ohio
3
goes for the winner.
elections.
Yeah.
So.
He's not known on a national stage. He's never written a book, so people don't know who he really is. And he's still kind of an awkward campaigner.
So I think the effect, though, of a Rick Snyder, if he gets into this race, is to sort of move the discussion back toward the sane. I mean, you've got a lot of really, really radical candidates in that field right now, and the effect that they will have is moving the ones who have a legitimate shot to the right into that sort of, they'll try to out-crazy each other, and that will hurt the party really badly going into 2016. I mean, you're talking about a real walloping they will take from Hillary Clinton if they do that. If you put Rick Snyder in that mix as a legitimate, governor, 2-time winner in a blue state, he commands, I think, a space where he can change the conversation in a way that will help them overall.
If he can find a space in that crowded field. He's getting in late, still not ready to form a committee. He's not ready to make any sort of announcement. He says for several months, a few months. And meanwhile, they're charging all over Iowa. I don't know how he gets heard. I don't know how he gets his voice up above this crowd to move the conversation in the way you suggest. His name recognition is very low. I just don't see, if it was a smaller race, maybe, but 20-some people in it, I don't know how he gets enough time in front of the camera to have that sort of impact.
But what does it say about our system that a 2-time governor who has been relatively successful and was a very successful businessman before that, what does it say about our system of presidential politics and running for the office of the presidency that someone like that with that kind of resume can't get traction?
Well, I mean, he's not the most dynamic campaigner we've ever seen. I mean, and again, he won Michigan by just 4 points against an extraordinarily weak opponent. There's no guarantee he can deliver the state for the Republicans, even if he were on the ticket.
Do you think?
So, I mean, I think I wouldn't just count him out. I think this is somebody.
I'm not counting him out. I just don't see how he squeezes in.
Well, I mean, and I think it says more about the party than it does about presidential politics generally, right? I mean, this is a party that's having a real identity crisis. I mean, there are a lot of people who want to move it really, really far to the right, where it won't have much of a chance in national elections. You've got a small number of people, Jeb Bush being the primary one, who's saying, listen, we want to win next year, and in order to do that, we've got to appeal to a broader swath of people. I mean, I think as an ally to that side, I think he does.
I mean, that's the popular wisdom,
that you read that he's the most liberal, that he's the most liberal Republican?
538 said he and Christie are the most liberals of these 24 candidates in the race. Probably not going to have great appeal in a Republican primary, but we keep hearing that, every time Republicans got to nominate a moderate if they have any chance to win. When's the last time they didn't nominate a moderate for the presidency? I mean, they certainly Romney fit that bill.
Romney
McCain
did
fit
fit
that bill. Both lost. So I mean,
But McCain lost
I mean, a lot of people
because-
want to give. Yeah, well, there are a lot of reasons they all lose.
McCain lost
but
because he picked
they didn't-
Wacko
they
as his
didn't
vice
win.
president.
They didn't
I don't think that was the
win.
only reason.
They didn't win as moderates, and you know, to tell the party, you know, all these people with advice of the party. Well, you got to nominate a person that you know
Who can win?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, they obviously can't because they followed that advice the last 2 times out. I think a bigger worry than the 21 Republicans who are pulling each other all over the map is the fact on the Democratic side you've got one
no
candidate
contest, yeah.
who's now, you know, week after week, revelations are coming out that could hurt her in a general election if they escalate and if there's more meat to them. I would think the Democrats would want a solid contest here to give people a choice and to have somebody.
I think that's a healthier way to
backup.
do it.
Yeah.
I think that's a healthier way to do it, but there's nobody who can compete financially with Hillary Clinton. The other candidates who have even expressed interest in that race are so far behind.
And that was her
there's no
strategy,
way.
you know. She's up, what, over $1 billion in commitments. The candidate who wants to take money out of politics.
All right,
But
well-
why not a governor like an Andy Cuomo?
Let's wrap it back around.
I agree.
Let's wrap
I
it back
agree.
around.
Or Martin O'Malley
Let's
or any of these
wrap
other
it back
guys.
around to Governor Snyder, and as we wrap this up. So, if not running for president, what does he get out of this? Is this a vice presidential ticket? Is this a cabinet post? Is this
I
what
can't
do
see
we?
him on the
It
vice
may
What
get
about-
him out
what
of
is this with
Michigan,
this
which
flirtation?
I continue to believe that the last 2 years, or 2.5, 3 years of this governor's time in Lansing is just not going to be very pleasant because that Republican caucus in the legislature just has different ideas than he does, and he's going to be fighting them about almost everything. He's not the kind of personality who likes to do that. He doesn't like to make deals. He likes to say, you know, this is the logical path and we ought to take it, and he gets frustrated when people, especially people in positions of responsibility, don't go along. He may be looking for an opportunity to say, well, I did what I could in Michigan and I fixed a lot of things. I'm not staying for the last.
Well, he won't. He won't
this
simply
term.
go unless he has a place to go.
Well,
If there's a
right.
Republican president, I think you can count on him.
He'd
being
go to
in the
Washington.
cabinet.
Somewhere.
In the cabinet, he's a great manager. Somebody would give him a department and say, "Fix this,"
Sure.
and Snyder would fix it.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thanks for watching My Week After the Show. We'll see you next week.